There are certain faces in Hollywood that time can never erase, faces that carried an entire generation's dreams, innocence, and wonder. For millions around the world, Hayley Mills was that face. The golden-haired girl whose smile could light up a room, whose laughter seemed to heal the world's sadness, and whose eyes carried both curiosity and wisdom far beyond her years. But behind that smile, behind the glow of the camera and the Disney magic, there was a story far richer and far more human, a story of courage, heartbreak, defiance, and a lifelong search for identity. And at 79, Hayley Mills has finally opened up about one woman who changed everything for her, the legendary Maureen O'Hara. It's a story that reaches back to the days of old Hollywood, where charm met power and innocence often walked hand in hand with danger. A story of a young British girl finding her way in the most powerful movie machine in the world, and the fiery Irish woman who would become both her guide and her mirror. Hayley Mills was born, Hayley Catherine Rose Vivian Mills, on April 18, 1946, in London, England, at a time when the world was still recovering from war, and the very idea of joy felt fragile. Yet from the moment she arrived, it was clear she was destined for a world larger than most. She was born into greatness, the daughter of two artists whose names carried prestige and elegance. Her father, Sir John Mills, was one of Britain's most respected actors, known for roles that balanced strength and sensitivity. Her mother, Mary Hayley Bell, was a novelist and playwright with a poet's soul. Their home was filled with stories, laughter, and endless rehearsals. To outsiders, it might have seemed like a fairy tale, but to young Hayley, it was an education. Every dinner conversation was a lesson in storytelling. Every visit to the theater was an apprenticeship in human emotion. Creativity wasn't a choice in the Mills household, it was the air they breathed. From an early age, Hayley was fascinated by the world her parents inhabited. She watched her father prepare for roles with quiet intensity, memorizing lines and gestures until they became second nature. She listened to her mother's lyrical prose and learned how emotion could be sculpted into art. It wasn't long before she too was drawn to the stage. But no one could have predicted how quickly her destiny would unfold. At just 12 years old, Hayley Mills stepped in front of a movie camera for the first time. The film was Tiger Bay, 1959, a British crime drama in which she starred opposite her own father. The role could have easily overwhelmed such a young performer, but Hayley didn't just act, she inhabited the character. Her performance was startlingly natural, filled with empathy and instinct. Critics couldn't believe that this quiet child carried such emotional truth, and neither could Walt Disney. Disney, ever the visionary, saw in Hayley something rare, a spark that couldn't be taught. To him, she was the embodiment of what family cinema should be: innocence, intelligence, and genuine warmth. It wasn't long before the studio reached out, offering her a contract that would forever change her life. In 1960, Pollyanna premiered, and the world fell in love. The story of a young orphan whose optimism transforms an entire town became one of Disney's most cherished films. And at its heart was Hayley, with her radiant sincerity and a presence so honest that it made audiences believe in kindness again. Her performance earned her the Academy Juvenile Award, one of the youngest ever to receive such an honor. But fame, especially for a child, is a double-edged sword. Overnight, Hayley Mills became the face of goodness, a living symbol of Disney purity. Fans adored her, studios celebrated her, and the press crowned her the new princess of Hollywood. Yet even as applause echoed around her, she began to sense the weight of expectation. Her next role would seal her place in cinema history. The Parent Trap, 1961, wasn't just another movie, it was a marvel. Playing identical twins separated at birth, Hayley performed what was then a technological and emotional miracle. With charm and precision, she brought to life two distinct personalities, mischievous Susan and refined Sharon, and made audiences believe they were real sisters. The film became an instant classic, one that still warms hearts more than 6 decades later. And on that set, something else happened. Hayley met a woman who would leave a mark on her soul forever, the fiery, fearless Irish actress Maureen O'Hara. Maureen was already a legend by the time The Parent Trap was made. She had conquered Hollywood with her fiery red hair, her unmistakable Irish accent, and her unbreakable will. She had stood toe-to-toe with John Wayne, outshined leading men, and refused to be silenced in an era when women were often told to smile and obey. To 14-year-old Hayley, she was mesmerizing. She filled a room, Hayley would later recall, elegant, commanding, and absolutely unapologetic. But at first, the young actress was terrified. O'Hara was known for her perfectionism, for demanding the best from everyone around her. And on a Disney set, where everything glimmered with sweetness, Maureen O'Hara brought something sharper: truth. She was never cruel, Hayley explained, but she expected excellence. She believed that if you were on set, no matter your age, you were there to work and to do it well. For the shy young girl still finding her footing, it was intimidating. Yet slowly, admiration replaced fear. As filming went on, Maureen took Hayley under her wing. Between takes, the older actress would share stories of Ireland, of her early struggles, and of standing her ground in a business that often punished strong women. "You must always know who you are, Hayley," she once told her, "before the world decides it for you." It was advice that would echo through Hayley's life for decades. O'Hara's lessons weren't about fame, they were about integrity. Watching her work was like studying poetry in motion. Every glance, every gesture carried intention. She didn't act, she lived each moment, and she demanded that same honesty from those around her. For Hayley, those lessons would become the foundation of her craft. Off-screen, their relationship was quieter but deeply respectful. O'Hara wasn't one for gossip or Hollywood pretense. She valued professionalism, loyalty, and self-respect above all. Yet beneath her formidable exterior, she had a wicked sense of humor. She would tell wild stories of filming with John Wayne, tales of dust, danger, and laughter that made the crew erupt. She had a twinkle in her eye, Hayley remembered, and when she laughed, the whole set laughed with her. But as Hayley's star rose higher, the world around her grew more complicated. By the mid-1960s, she was no longer the child Disney had introduced. She was a young woman trying to carve out her own identity, one that didn't belong to the studio or the audience's nostalgia. Her decision to star in The Family Way, 1966, was bold. The film tackled adult themes and included moments that shocked audiences who still saw her as Pollyanna. Yet for Hayley, it was liberation, her declaration that she was not a child anymore. And behind that courage was the quiet influence of Maureen O'Hara. "She showed me," Hayley said, "that strength and kindness could coexist, that you could be firm without being cruel." Around that time, another figure entered her life: director Roy Bolting. He was 33 years her senior, worldly, charming, and intellectually magnetic. Their relationship became one of the most controversial romances in British cinema. When they married in 1971, Hayley was 25, and Roy was 58. The public was shocked, the press relentless. Yet for Hayley, it was a rebellion, her way of defining love on her own terms. Their marriage was unconventional but filled with moments of genuine warmth. They lived in a fashionable Chelsea flat and owned a countryside windmill in Buckinghamshire, where they entertained friends and lived creatively. But as time went on, the age gap and differences in temperament began to show. The marriage ended in 1977, but it left behind two legacies: Hayley's independence and her son Crispian Mills. Crispian would grow into a celebrated musician, leading the psychedelic rock band Kula Shaker in the 1990s. In his music, you can hear traces of his mother's curiosity, her introspection, and that same quiet defiance she learned from O'Hara all those years ago. After her divorce, Hayley found love again with actor Lee Lawson. Together, they had a son, Jason. But the demands of two busy careers eventually drove them apart. Even so, Hayley remained steadfast, determined to live life authentically, guided not by headlines but by her own heart. In later years, she found peace and companionship with actor Ferdy Bamji, 20 years her junior. They met while performing The King and I, where their onstage chemistry became something real. Together, they've shared a quiet, creative life, avoiding the spotlight that once defined her. Through every chapter, the fame, the heartbreaks, the reinventions, the lessons Maureen O'Hara taught her never left. O'Hara had shown her that success without self-respect was meaningless. That kindness didn't require submission. That courage was not loudness but conviction. When O'Hara passed away in 2015, Hayley felt the loss deeply. "It was like losing a piece of old Hollywood," she said softly. "That kind of grace and strength doesn't exist anymore." Watching The Parent Trap now brings tears to her eyes. She remembers the warmth of O'Hara's hand on her shoulder, the soft Irish lilt saying, "You've got this, darling." And she knows that those words didn't just apply to a scene, they were a blessing for life. Over the years, Hayley has spoken openly about the challenges of growing up in fame's unforgiving glare. She has advocated for child performers, urging Hollywood to treat them with humanity. "We were children playing in a grown-up world," she once said. "We needed protection, not perfection." Today at 79, Hayley Mills carries herself with the quiet dignity of someone who has lived many lives. The child star, the rebel, the mother, the survivor, and the artist who never stopped learning. Her story is one of resilience and gratitude, and when she speaks of Maureen O'Hara now, her voice trembles not with sorrow, but with reverence. "Maureen wasn't just my co-star," she reflects. "She was a mentor, a protector, and a friend. She showed me how to walk tall in a world that wanted to shrink me." In many ways, their bond was more than a meeting of two generations. It was the passing of a torch, from one woman who fought to define her worth in Hollywood's golden age to another who carried that strength into the modern era. And as the years pass, Hayley Mills's legacy, like O'Hara's, becomes something far greater than fame. It becomes a testament to artistry born from integrity, and to the quiet, enduring courage of women who refuse to be defined by anyone but themselves. If you watch The Parent Trap today, look closely. Beneath the laughter, beneath the clever tricks and the Disney charm, there's something deeper. A young girl learning from a legend. A silent exchange of strength, grace, and purpose. That, Hayley says, was the real magic. Not the special effects or the clever editing, but the human connection that shaped her forever. And so, when she finally speaks of Maureen O'Hara, the truth isn't scandal or mystery, it's love, respect, gratitude. The truth is that Maureen O'Hara taught Hayley Mills how to be more than a star. She taught her how to be a woman,